Chapter 15. Establishing Dominance. In Delgian, near the rear gates leading to the astral realm. In Delgian, the magical city hidden away in the astral realm, exists on a precarious precipice between two starkly contrasting landscapes. On one side of the city stretches the grim and foreboding wastes, a desolate expanse of barren earth, and swirling shadows where only the bravest dare to tread. The wastes are a place of darkness and danger, inhabited by malevolent spirits and twisted creatures that lurk in the shadows, waiting to ensnare unwary travelers. It is a place of perpetual twilight, where shadows writhe and twist like living entities, and a thick, oppressive silence hangs heavy in the air. The terrain of the wastes is harsh and unforgiving, characterized by jagged rocks, twisted brambles, and treacherous sinkholes that seem to appear out of nowhere. The ground is cracked and parched, as if thirsting for moisture that will never come, and the sky above is perpetually shrouded in a veil of swirling mist and shadow. Thorny vines snake their way across the ground, ensnaring anything foolish enough to stray too close, while gnarled, petrified trees with twisted branches claw at the sky like skeletal fingers. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the wastes is the sense of unease and dread that permeates the air, as if the very land itself is alive with malevolent intent. Those who venture into its depths do so at their own peril, for the wastes are a place of darkness and danger, where only the bravest or most foolhardy dare to tread. But on the other side of Endelgian lies a place just as unsettling, a lifeless duplicate of the mortal realm, devoid of color, sound, and life. Here everything is shrouded in a pall of dullness and monotony, like a black and white photograph stripped of its vibrancy. The air hangs heavy and still, devoid of even the slightest breeze, as if time itself has come to a standstill in this eerie limbo. In this lifeless realm, the buildings of the human world stand like silent sentinels against the backdrop of emptiness, their once grand towers now faded and crumbling with age. The streets are empty and desolate, devoid of the hustle and bustle of the living world, as if the cities themselves exist in a state of perpetual twilight. Despite its unsettling appearance, this lifeless duplicate of the mortal realm serves a crucial purpose for the mages of Endelgian. It is through this limbo-like place that they are able to travel to and from their hidden city, using ancient magical gateways and portals that connect the two realms. These portals act as gateways between worlds, allowing the mages to pass through the veil that separates the astral realm from the mortal realm and back again. Tanjiro Tamagai, third seed of the Knights of Solomon, concocted a plan to divert the attention of the elders away from Master Rousseau and Master Lambert's clandestine mission. Knowing the elders' routines and vulnerabilities, Tanjiro orchestrated a masterful distraction that would serve as the perfect cover for their departure. Under the cover of darkness, Tanjiro set his plan into motion. With precision timing and calculated maneuvers, he executed a series of carefully choreographed actions designed to capture the elders' attention and draw them away from their usual watchful posts. Danton Suchi Golem Jizna, Master Dawashak chants, using his magic to imbue an earth-make golem with motion. The conjurer rises up to nearly 20 meters in height. "Make sure it's flashy, but don't hurt anyone," Tanjiro had said. Masters Rui, Marley, and Raynor catch sight of the massive golem. "That's our cue," Master Raynor says. "Agni Tativia," Master Rui chants, conjuring an almost equally large fire elemental. Alarms begin to sound throughout the city, and the streets are soon swarmed with Knights of Solomon. The mighty warriors of Endelgian strike against the earthen golem, chipping away at the creature with their enchanted swords. Master Dawashak strains to keep his focus on moving the golem around and feeding it his mana. It is quite difficult to fight while trying not to hurt anyone. Several knights looked towards his direction. They're going to try to take out the caster, Dalshek's provost, Solaglad says. Go, master. If they find you, you'll be arrested for treason. I will stay and protect the golem. They cannot sense my location, unlike yours. Master Dalshek nods, running off. Solaglad chants, summoning vines to ensnare the approaching knights from below. Faz Finiuna. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to the elders or the Knights of Solomon, Master Rousseau and Master Lambert seized the opportunity to slip away unnoticed, their departure shrouded in the chaos and confusion that Tanjiro and the others had orchestrated. With the city's defenders preoccupied and their attention diverted, the two mages embarked on their secret mission, their fate hanging in the balance as they ventured into the unknown. The streets erupted into chaos as the knights scrambled to contain the unexpected upheaval, providing the perfect window of opportunity for Rousseau, Lambert, and their team. Under the cover of darkness and chaos, the mages slipped unnoticed through the corridors of Endelgian, their steps muffled by the echoes of the city's turmoil. As they reached the city's perimeter, the mages cast concealment spells to mask their presence from the vigilant eyes of the elders and the city's arcane defenses. Other knights rushed the fire elemental, but a second burning conjurer appears behind them. There's one over here! Master Roy shouts, having just summoned a third creature. Laying it on a little thick, aren't you? Master Raynor laughs. Master Roy smiles. I don't get to demonstrate my theatrical talents nearly enough. The knights work together to douse the conjuries with water magic, and join up with the trio of masters. Our part is done, Master Raynor whispers. Good luck, our friends. Master Marley also whispers, hoping they were able to get out of the city during the distraction. Tanjiro lowers his guard, allowing himself to be struck by one of the golem's fists. The blow sends the knight crashing through a wall. I hope that we have bought them enough time, Tanjiro thinks. A conjurer this level is no match for even one master, let alone a whole squad of knights. We aren't going to be able to fake this much longer. From his new vantage point, Master Dalshek scatters the knights with wind magic. We're under attack from multiple fronts, a knight shouts. It must be a group of rogues, another knight shouts. We must inform the elders. Stand your ground, Tanjiro growls, crawling free of the debris. The Knights of Solomon do not flee from any challenge. A beam of magical energy cuts through the golem's center, reducing the creature to crumbling earth. I admire your resolve, Master Knight, Elder Guerin says, lowering down to their location with levitation magic. Damn, Tanjiro thinks. It didn't take them long to mobilize. Thank you, esteemed Elder. Have all of the disturbances been dealt with? Elder Olgstrom asks. All of the elders have gathered, to Tanjiro's dismay. As the elders converged at the site of the disturbance, Tanjiro swiftly formulated a plausible explanation to account for the chaos that had unfolded under his watch. Clearing his throat, he began his explanation with a measured tone, his words carefully chosen to assuage any doubts or suspicions that might linger in the minds of the elders. Esteemed elders, Tanjiro began, his voice carrying authority and conviction. What you witnessed here today was not the result of any malevolent intent or deliberate sabotage. Rather, it was an unfortunate convergence of circumstances, compounded by the volatile nature of magical energies that permeate our city. Are you saying that an earthen golem and multiple fire elementals just spontaneously conjured themselves through a flux in magical energy? Elder Gioconda asks skeptically. Third seat Tamagai, Elder Lori begins in irritation. What is going on here? With a sweeping gesture, Tanjiro motioned to the scene before them, gesturing towards the scattered debris and lingering traces of magical residue. As Knights of Solomon, it is our duty to maintain order and protect the citizens of Endelgian, he continued, his tone resolute. In the course of our duties, accidents are bound to occur, but rest assured, every effort was made to mitigate the damage and ensure the safety of our people. Accidents? Elder Lori asks, concerned. What accidents? Are you trying to cover up the reckless use of magic within the city by one of your subordinates? Elder Guerin asks accusingly. Tanjiro began, his words carrying the weight of authority. Earlier today, while conducting routine patrols, my fellow knights and I detected a disturbance in the magical current surrounding the city, Tanjiro explained, his gaze sweeping over the attentive faces of the elders. Upon investigation, we discovered an anomaly, a surge of chaotic energy that threatened to destabilize the very fabric of our realm. Chaotic energy? Elder Stom shouts in alarm. Is it the D'Inferni? Or a rogue? Calm down, Elder Guerin says, irritated. Third seat Tamagai, please elaborate. Tanjiro's expression grew solemn as he recounted the events leading up to the disturbance. In our efforts to contain the anomaly and prevent its spread, a skirmish ensued, resulting in the inadvertent release of magical energy, continued, his tone grave. Though we acted swiftly to minimize the impact, the residual effects were unavoidable, leading to the scene before you. I do not sense anything out of the ordinary, Elder Lori says, confused. The chaotic energy has already been dispersed, Tanjiro says. Now all that remains is to find the origin of the energy and ensure that it is not of a malevolent source. Why have only you responded to this disturbance? Elder Pola asks accusingly. Well, I'm not, Tanjiro says. My honored elder mages, you have responded to this event as well. And yet you got here so much more quickly than us, that you were able to survey the scene and investigate the threat before we even arrived, Elder Guerin says, growing increasingly skeptical. Tanjiro gestured towards the remnants of the disturbance, his demeanor conveying a sense of accountability and responsibility. As Knights of Solomon, it is our duty to safeguard the city and its inhabitants, Tanjiro declared, his voice resonating with conviction. While today's events may have been unsettling, rest assured that every measure has been taken to ensure the safety and well-being of our citizens. We too responded to the anomalies, Master Roy says, approaching with the squad of knights dispatched to combat the fire elementals. One of the knights nods. Without their assistance, many buildings would have been destroyed by the flames. Master Dalshak steps forward with his Provost Soliglad. We also encountered several anomalous events across the city. Several wind elementals suddenly appeared from seemingly nowhere. We do not doubt the integrity of the Knights of Solomon, Elder Falv says. It is good that you are able to respond so quickly. We should not be so fast to attribute malicious intent to your prompt reaction. Elder Guerin rolls his eyes in annoyance. What have you determined to be the origin of the disturbance and the chaotic energy? As I delved deeper into the source of the anomalies, it became apparent that we were dealing with a phenomenon beyond our understanding, Tanjiro continued, his tone measured yet authoritative. The chaotic energy originated from a rift in the fabric of the mortal realm, a temporary breach that allowed the uncontrollable flow of magical energies into our realm. A rift in the mortal realm, Elder Lori says, shocked. How could that have affected us here in the city? Because of our location within the convergence of the mortal realm and the yet zero wastes, it is not impossible for disturbances to ripple from one world to another through the astral realm. Have you contacted any of our mages stationed in the human world? Elder Olgstrom asks. We should have someone investigate the rift. Tanjiro chose his next words carefully, ensuring not to divulge too much information that could further provoke investigations. The exact nature of this breach remains shrouded in mystery, Tanjiro explained, his expression conveying a sense of solemnity. It is possible that external factors beyond our realm's borders may have triggered the disturbance, though I agree that further investigation is required to ascertain the full extent of its origins. We have received a handful of reports from the mortal realm of dimensional wounds opening up that are connected to the Yetzira, Elder Gioconda whispers. It is possible this ties back to the De Inferni, Elder Polo whispers. Perhaps Apprentice Livingston's adventure in the Yetzira has spurred the Infernals into a full-scale attack. I do not think that we should immediately think the worst, Elder Falv says. This could all just be a coincidence. I did not sense any revenants or any other undead at the site of the anomaly. I think this may have been more of a random event or some natural phenomena, and not an opening salvo of war from the De Inferni. Tanjiro's explanation hinted at the complexity of interdimensional phenomena, while subtly steering the elders away from pursuing the matter further. Rest assured, esteemed elders, that the Knights of Solomon are actively monitoring the situation, and have taken necessary precautions to prevent a reoccurrence, he assured them, his demeanor conveying both confidence and reassurance. To support his explanation, Tanjiro presented detailed reports and testimonies from his fellow knights, each corroborating his account of the incident. He emphasized the swift response and coordinated efforts of the knights in containing the situation, underscoring their commitment to protecting the city at all costs. Tanjiro's explanation was designed to instill a sense of urgency, but not outright panic among the elders. Given the severity of the situation, I propose that we dispatch a team of our most skilled mages to investigate the breach firsthand, he suggested, his tone resolute. By sending a delegation to the mortal realm, we can gather valuable intelligence on the nature of the threat and take appropriate measures to safeguard our realm. He glanced around the scene, meeting the gaze of each elder in turn. I understand the risks involved, but the safety of our realm depends on swift and decisive action, Tanjiro asserted, his voice unwavering. With your permission, esteemed elders, I will assemble a team and embark on this mission immediately. With his proposal laid out, Tanjiro awaited the elders' response, knowing that their decision could affect the future of the entire city of Adelgyan forever. As the elders deliberated over the decision, their expressions remained inscrutable, betraying none of their inner thoughts. We appreciate your vigilance, Tanjiro, and the urgency you have conveyed, Elder Gioconda began, her tone grave yet composed. However, this matter requires careful consideration, and we must proceed with caution. The elder's words hung heavy in the air as she continued. Given the gravity of the situation, we have decided to assemble a team of our own most experienced mages to investigate the breach, she explained, her gaze unwavering. While we acknowledge your efforts, we believe it prudent to proceed with a more thorough investigation. It just does not seem plausible that all of these events spontaneously generated through mere energy fluctuations, Elder Olgstrom says. Tanjiro's expression remained neutral, though a flicker of disappointment may have crossed his features momentarily. Rest assured, Tanjiro, your dedication to the safety of our realm has not gone unnoticed, Elder Lori assured him, her voice tinged with empathy. We will keep you informed of any developments and call upon your expertise as needed. It is imperative that we select a team capable of handling this delicate situation with precision and discretion, Elder Giaconda declared, her voice carrying the weight of authority. I propose we entrust this mission to Master Yasatru. The mention of Master Machi Yasatru drew collective nods of agreement from her fellow elders. Known for astute judgment and unwavering resolve, Master Yasatru had proven herself time and again in the face of adversity. Elder Lori, your thoughts? Elder Falv turned to her colleague, seeking affirmation. Elder Lori nodded in concurrence. Master Yasatru possesses the necessary qualities to lead this mission effectively, he affirmed, his voice resonating with conviction. Her experience and leadership will be invaluable in investigating the complexities of the mortal realm. With the unanimous consent from the elders, Master Yasatru was officially appointed as the leader of the investigative team. As she accepted this solemn responsibility, a sense of determination radiated from her, underscoring her commitment to the task at hand. Master Yasatru, you have our full confidence, Elder Giaconda intoned, her words carrying the weight of authority. May you and your team embark on this mission with clarity of purpose, and return safely with the knowledge we seek. As the elders deliberated and ultimately selected Master Yasatru to lead the investigative team, Tanjiro's mind churned with the mix of relief and guilt. Through his fabricated distraction had served its purpose in diverting attention away from Masters Rousseau and Lambert's clandestine mission, the weight of his deception weighed heavily upon him. Inwardly, Tanjiro wrestled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, he felt a sense of accomplishment at successfully orchestrating the distraction and safeguarding his comrade's secret mission. Yet the nagging guilt gnawed at him, reminding him of the potential consequences of his actions. As Master Yasatru accepted the mantle of leadership with grace and determination, Tanjiro couldn't help but admire her steadfast resolve. However, a pang of remorse tugged at his conscience, knowing that she and her team would embark on a mission rooted in falsehood. Despite his inner turmoil, Tanjiro resolved to maintain the facade, concealing the truth from his fellow knights and elders alike. He knew that revealing the deception now would only sow discord and suspicion among their ranks, jeopardizing their unity in the face of greater threats. Under the dim glow of the magical lights generated throughout the city to mimic moonlight, Masters Rousseau and Lambert stood at the edge of Vindelgian, their faces set in determined expressions as they prepare to embark on their journey. Clad in dark robes that blended seamlessly with the shadows, they moved with the silent grace of seasoned mages, their every movement calculated and deliberate. Behind them, their team of fellow mages stood ready, their eyes alight with anticipation and apprehension. Each one carried a small pack, containing essential supplies for their journey, while their hands gripped tightly onto the handles of their staffs, the source of their own light for the journey through the astral realm. Accompanying Rousseau and Lambert are Masters Hukum Yuhara, Lamad Ki Lunkrabuv, Shizver Odidro, and Knights Miok Vior, Rusun Mako, and Tenchutius Evebrin. With a nod of silent agreement, Masters Rousseau and Lambert raised their hands, calling forth the ancient incantations that would open the gateway to the astral limbo. The air shimmered and rippled as the magical energies coalesced around them, forming a swirling vortex of light and shadow that danced like fire in the darkness. As the gateway slowly began to open, the mages stepped forward, their hearts pounding with excitement and trepidation. One by one they passed through the shimmering veil of energy, their bodies tingling with the sensation of passing from one realm to another. Emerging on the other side, the mages found themselves in the eerie landscape of the lifeless duplicate of the real world. Everything around them was shrouded in a pall of dullness and monotony, as if drained of color and life. The air hung heavy and still, devoid of even the slightest breeze, as if time had come to a standstill in this strange and unsettling place. Undeterred by the eerie silence that surrounded them, Masters Rousseau and Lambert led their team forward, their footsteps echoing softly in the emptiness. They moved with caution, their senses alert for any sign of danger that might lurk in the shadows. As the mages ventured deeper into the lifeless duplicate of the real world, they moved with purpose and determination, their senses attuned to the subtle shifts in the empty landscape around them. With each step, the oppressive silence weighed heavily upon them, but they pushed forward, driven by the knowledge that their mission was of the utmost importance. After what felt like an eternity of traversing the barren emptiness, Masters Rousseau and Lambert and their team finally arrived at a place far enough away from the city to set up their teleportation spell. They found themselves standing on the docks of the port of Tanjung Pelapis, Malaysia, the air heavy with the scent of salt and decay. The dock stretched out before them, a maze of weathered wooden planks and rusted metal fixtures that seemed to stretch on into infinity. The waters of the port were still and lifeless, reflecting the dull gray sky above like a mirror of despair. With a sense of relief at having found their destination, the mages wasted no time in setting up their teleportation spell. Working together with practiced efficiency, they formed a circle and began to chant the ancient incantations that would allow them to traverse the vast distances between worlds. As they spoke the words of power, the air around them crackled with magical energy, forming a shimmering vortex of light and shadow that enveloped them like a cocoon. With a final burst of effort, they focused their wills and stepped through the gateway, leaving behind the lifeless duplicate of the real world and entering the mortal realm. As they emerged on the other side, their surroundings shifted and shimmered. The air was alive with the sounds of life, and the docks bustled with activity as the inhabitants went about their daily lives. As the mages stepped foot onto the weathered docks of the mortal realm, the salty tang of the sea air filled their senses, a stark contrast to the ethereal atmosphere of Endogian. With determination etched into their expressions, they scanned the bustling port, seeking out a vessel that would carry them to their destination. Navigating through the maze of ships bobbing gently in the harbor, they finally spotted a sturdy-looking vessel that seemed to fit their requirements. Approaching the ship's captain, they negotiated passage to the distant island of Jockey, their words laced with a sense of urgency and purpose. Masters Rousseau and Lambert approached the weathered captain, whose grizzled features spoke of a lifetime spent at sea. The captain regarded them with a weathered gaze, one that seemed to assess their purpose even before they spoke. "Captain," Master Rousseau began, his voice steady yet urgent, "we seek passage to the island of Jockey. Our mission is of the utmost importance, and time is of the essence." The captain's brow furrowed slightly, his gaze shifting between the two mages. "Jockey, you say? That's a perilous journey, even in the best of times," Captain Quang Wam replied, his voice carrying the weight of experience. "We are aware of the risks," Lambert injected, his voice firm. "But the fate of our world hangs in the balance. Lives depend on our success." The captain, his weathered face etched with the lines of countless voyages, regarded them with a skeptical eye. "Captain," Master Lambert began, their voice carrying a note of urgency, "we are in need of swift passage to the island of Jockey. Our mission is of the utmost importance, and every moment is precious." The captain's bushy brows furrowed, his gaze shifting between the two mages again. "That's no journey for the faint-hearted," he grumbled, his tone gruff with skepticism. "They say monsters live on that island. Hard to know for sure. No one ever comes back alive from that place. Storms all around the damn place. Violent storms that pop up out from nowhere, even when the seas were calm and the sky blue only seconds before. We might have a way to break those storms, but we can't get close to the island without a ship. That's why we need your help, Master Rousseau says. A way to break the storms? The captain eyes them with greater suspicion. You aren't dressed like no scientists. Mages, Master Lambert says matter-of-factly. With our presence on your ship, the sea shall become enchanted and remain calm for the duration of our voyage. She notices that the ship's hold has old and worn fishing supplies that barely look operational. It seems as though this city has seen some tough times as of late. Fish have been scarce, the captain admits. Not sure what the problem is. Been seeing a lot of weirder things from the depths closer to the surface. Something has stirred up the deep ocean and scared all the other fish away. Sounds like something in the depths might have also responded to Inyana's call, one of the provosts whispers to Master Rousseau. Master Rousseau nods. We must be prepared for any horrors that can be dreamt up in the darkest of nightmares. I strongly believe that our success in reaching Jockey Island and dispersing the dark magic there will in turn restore this city to its former success, Master Lambert says. The captain's gaze softened slightly at Lambert's words, though his expression remained guarded. A noble cause, to be sure, he conceded, but noble causes don't put food on the table or keep a ship afloat. Master Rousseau met the captain's gaze squarely, a sense of determination burning in his eyes. We are prepared to compensate you generously for your services, he replied. His voice resonated with conviction. And should trouble arise on our journey, you will find us more than willing to lend our aid. The captain mulled over their words for a long moment, his gaze shifting from Rousseau to Lambert and back again. Finally he nodded, a grudging respect gleaming in his eyes. Very well, he conceded, but it won't come cheap, and I'll expect you to keep your word in helping out the crew if we encounter trouble along the way. Master Rousseau and Lambert exchanged a silent glance, understanding the captain's terms implicitly. The captain studied them for a moment longer, as if weighing their words against some unseen measure. Finally he nodded, a grudging respect flickering in his eyes. Very well, he conceded. How soon do you need to depart? As soon as possible. We shouldn't need any more supplies than what the ocean can supply for us, Master Lambert says. What do you request in compensation? Master Rousseau asks. I normally charge between 500 and 2,000 a day for charter trips, but in these circumstances, 25K, no negotiations. Our lives will be at risk going anywhere near Jockey. Masters Rousseau and Lambert exchanged a knowing glance, silently acknowledging the captain's terms. Agreed, Master Rousseau replied, extending a hand in a solemn pact. The captain is surprised that the mages accepted his terms with no hesitation. With a firm handshake, the deal was sealed, and Masters Rousseau and Lambert embarked on their journey, their fate intertwined with the unpredictable whims of the open sea. With their agreement settled, the captain led the mages down the creaking wooden gangplank to the weathered deck of his ship, the Lambutswana. With each step, the ship seemed to come alive beneath their feet, its timbers groaning and creaking in anticipation of the adventure to come. The vessel swayed gently on the undulating waves, its sails billowing in the salty breeze. After securing their passage, Masters Rousseau and Lambert boarded the ship, their hearts heavy with the weight of their clandestine mission. As the sails billowed in the sea breeze and the ship set course towards the horizon, they steeled themselves for the challenges that lay ahead, knowing that the fate of both worlds hung in the balance. We set sail at dawn, the captain announced, his voice carrying over the bustle of the crew as they prepared the ship for departure. "Make yourselves comfortable in the meantime." "That's about 4 hours from now," Master Rousseau says, looking up at the positioning of the moon overhead. As they made their way across the deck, Rousseau and Lambert couldn't shake the sense of anticipation that gripped them. The journey ahead was fraught with peril, but it was their duty to assist in any way that they could in stopping Inyana and whatever plans were behind her tournament. The mages refused to believe that there was no ulterior motive behind Inyana's invitation, and that currently Danny and the others were headed directly into some sort of trap. Reaching Jockey Island and joining up with their fellow mages was of the utmost importance. Inyana had to be stopped, and no monster was to be allowed to win whatever artifact it was she had gained from the Yazata. Yet Zero the Wastes. The king in the dark sat upon his ancient throne, his form shrouded in darkness as he brooded over the affairs of his realm. His eyes, pools of darkness, glinted with an otherworldly intelligence as he contemplated the whispers that echoed through the cavernous halls. As if summoned by his thoughts, a figure emerged from the darkness, moving with a sinuous grace that spoke of unearthly power. It was the creature that was once known as the Doctor in the human world, his features twisted and contorted by the dark magics that now bound him to the king's service. "What do you want?" the king's advisor, Doyle, asks with a growl. "You cannot just come into the king's presence unannounced." Because of the Doctor's human soul dominating his personality, he is met with scorn by most of the Inferni. The king in the dark, however, finds the Doctor's gifts to be intriguing. "I will allow it. Come forward, young one." Approaching the throne with a deferential bow, the creature once known as the Doctor spoke in a voice that dripped with a cold, calculating certainty. "My liege," he began, his tone reverent yet tinged with an undercurrent of ambition. "I bring news of my latest experiments." The king in the dark regarded him with a silent nod, his gaze piercing through the shadows to meet the Doctor's own. "Speak," he commanded, his voice a low grumble that seemed to reverberate through the very air itself. With the flick of his clawed hand, the Doctor conjured forth a spectral image that hovered in the air before them, a swirling vortex of darkness and flame that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. The spectral flame morphed and slowly took on the form of a bipedal creature, with a bull-like face and an armor-plated body. "My experiments have continued to yield successful results," he explained, his voice tinged with a note of triumph. "I have discovered a way to progress a revenant into a pseudo-infernal in only a few days' time, with enough life energy fed into them." "You can create revenants with the spirits of prey animals?" Arish Kigal asks in surprise, noting that bulls, while fierce, are still not predators. The Doctor nods. "I am not limited by type or will of spirit. Any soul I wish I can manipulate into dominance. I just need more spiritual material with which to work." The king's eyes narrowed slightly at the Doctor's words, his expression unreadable as he considered the implications of his newfound knowledge. "And how do you propose to acquire such life energy?" he inquired, his voice a cold whisper that sent shivers down the Doctor's spine. The Doctor's lips curled into a sly grin, his eyes gleaming with a mad fervor as he spoke. "There are many ways," he replied, his voice dripping with malice. "But perhaps the most efficient method would be to harvest the souls of those foolish enough to oppose us. An attack on the mages would take care of our problems and yield satisfactory results," the Doctor says. Memories of the mages of Endelgian attacking him in life and transforming him into a cockroach causes him to clench his fists tightly in anger. The king notices the change in the doctor's demeanor. "Is it possible that you hate them as much as I do?" "I cannot speak to your hatred, my king. But as for myself, there is nothing I wish for more than to see each and every one of those filthy mages fed to the children of this grand realm." The king grins widely and stands proudly. "Well said, my doctor, well said. This has given me an equally grand idea. Gather your newborn creations, and let them loose upon the mortal realm. We shall teach the world of man to fear not only death, but us, the harbingers of it. The young will learn to hunt with the easy prey of the human world, gathering valuable experience. Then we shall direct our attention to the mages and their complete eradication." A sinister chuckle echoed through the throne room as the king in the dark contemplated the doctor's words, his mind already turning to the possibilities that lay ahead. For with the doctor's dark magics and twisted experiments at his disposal, there was no limit to the power that he would wield, and no force in the mortal or supernatural realms that could hope to stand against him. "Come forward, my children, your king summons you," the doctor shouts. As the doctor's voice echoed through the darkness, 9 towering figures emerged from the shadows, their forms twisted and contorted into grotesque amalgamations of different predatory creatures. Each pseudo-infernal was a nightmare's fusion of animalistic features, their bodies bristling with fangs, claws, and sinewy muscles that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The doctor, with his unmatched intellect and knowledge of genetic manipulation, had adapted his gifts into forging weapons of death that normally took hundreds or thousands of years to attain naturally. He had discovered a means to mass-produce monstrosities, only a single step of evolution away from the De Inferni, and he had done so in relatively no time at all after adapting to his own newfound existence. The first of the creatures stepped forward, its form reminiscent of a muscular black feline, but warped and twisted beyond recognition. Its sleek black fur was mottled with patches of scales, and its elongated limbs ended in razor-sharp claws that dripped with venom. This creature, known as Exodal, moved with a predatory grace, its eyes gleaming with a feral intelligence as it scanned the chamber for prey. The creature suddenly stands up, revealing that with multiple human souls fed into its twisted being, it has gained some of their more defining traits. All of the doctor's pseudo-infernals are capable of speech and higher intelligence than what is common among the predatory animals they originated from. The second pseudo-infernal, named Tetzcalapodo, resembled a monstrous reptilian creature with the head of a wolf. Its muscular body flexed and retracted as it moved forward, its jaws snapping hungrily at the air as it searched for life energy. Its eyes burned with a malevolent light, betraying the cunning intelligence that lurked behind its bestial facade. 2 sets of raptorial wings extended from the creature's back, like a devilish perversion of a holy seraph. Tetzcalapodal extends both sets of wings, revealing that each is lined with a row of grotesque eyes. The eyes look around, processing visual information independently of each other. Next came Ixtab, a towering figure that bore the likeness of a fearsome bird of prey. Its feathers were as black as midnight, and its talons gleamed with a deadly sheen as it loomed over the others, its beady eyes fixed on the doctor with a hunger that bordered on madness. It was a monstrous creature that resembled a great horned owl, its feathers mottled with the colors of a tropical parrot. Its beak was twisted into a cruelly curved hook, capable of rending flesh with a single strike, while its eyes glowed with an otherworldly intelligence. The fourth pseudo-infernal, named Ahalpu, was a grotesque fusion of insect and reptile. It resembled a sleek black lizard with the wings of a dragonfly. Its body, elongated and sleek, is covered in iridescent scales that shimmer with a kaleidoscope of colors under the light. These scales provide both protection and camouflage, allowing the creature to blend seamlessly into its surroundings. Atop its head sits a pair of large, multifaceted eyes, reminiscent of those found in the compound eyes of a dragonfly. These eyes are capable of detecting even the slightest movements, and providing the creature with keen sight, enabling it to locate prey with a remarkable accuracy. They gleam with an otherworldly luminescence, reflecting the ambient light in a mesmerizing display. Stretching out from either side of its body are a pair of delicate wings, translucent and veined like those of a dragonfly. These wings beat with a rapid, almost imperceptible rhythm, allowing the creature to hover effortlessly in the air and maneuver with unparalleled agility. Each wing is adorned with intricate patterns and markings, serving both functional and aesthetic purposes. Despite its seemingly fragile appearance, this creature is a formidable predator, capable of darting through the air with astonishing speed and precision. Its slender body allows for swift and silent movement, while its keen eyesight and maneuverability make it a highly efficient hunter in nearly any habitat. A cot, the fifth of the creatures, its slender, elongated mouth reminiscent of a gar fish, with rows of razor-sharp teeth lining its jaws. The creature boasts a sleek, torpedo-shaped body covered in iridescent scales that shimmer with a myriad of hues ranging from silvery blue to iridescent green. Its head is adorned with a pair of large, bat-like wings sprouting from behind its eyes, with elongated fingers and a leathery membrane that stretch between them. These wings, when not in use, folded neatly against its body, streamlined for swift movement. Along its sides, thin, flexible fins undulate gracefully, aiding in precise maneuvers as it moves swiftly on land as if it were in water. Its skin is sleek and smooth to the touch, yet tough and resilient, offering protection against attacks and environmental hazards. The creature's tail is long and whip-like, tapering to a fine point, allowing for swift propulsion forward with minimal resistance. The sixth pseudo-infernal, known as Keeson, resembled a twisted amalgamation of bear and crocodile, its massive form bristling with muscle and sinew. Its jaw gaped open in a silent roar, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth that dripped with black ichor. Its scaled hide covered in ancient glyphs and symbols that glowed with an eerie green light. Aran, the seventh creature, bore the resemblance of a monstrous spider with the claws of a scorpion. Its chitinous exoskeleton gleamed with a sickly green hue, and its multiple eyes glowed with a baleful light as it scuttled forward on its many legs, leaving a trail of venomous ichor in its wake. Its armored carapace was adorned with feathers and bright markings that glinted in the dim light of the chamber. Its stinger dripped with a deadly toxin that could paralyze even the mightiest of foes with a single strike. The eighth pseudo-infernal, named Kotalku, was a horrifying fusion of humanoid, insect, and cephalopod. Its form a grotesque amalgamation of the three. Its torso was humanoid, with two muscular arms ending in clawed hands, and two legs that terminated in webbed feet, giving it a semblance of a bipedal movement. Its skin was a sickly shade of blue, mottled with patterns reminiscent of the deadly rings of a blue-ringed octopus. Kotalku's head resembled that of a monstrous insect. Its face was elongated and angular, with multifaceted eyes that gleamed with a malevolent intelligence. Its mouth was lined with rows of razor-sharp teeth, while two long, slender antennae protruded from its forehead, twitching and swaying as it surveyed its surroundings. From its back sprouted a pair of translucent wings resembling those of a hornet, which buzzed with a low, ominous hum as it moved through the air. And extending from its shoulders were two long, sinuous tentacles, each tipped with a cluster of deadly suckers that dripped with potent neurotoxin. The ninth of the pseudo-infernals, Zilopotl, was a terrifying amalgamation of two ancient and fearsome species. Its body was elongated and sleek, reminiscent of a giant otter, with fur that shimmered with an iridescent sheen in the dim light. Its sharp claws and powerful limbs were adapted for swift movement both on land and in water, allowing it to traverse any environment with ease. Zilopochtli's head resembled that of a monstrous flatworm. Its face was elongated and flat, with rows of tiny razor-sharp teeth that lined its gaping maw. Its eyes were small and beady, glowing with a sinister intelligence as it surveyed its surroundings. From its back sprouted a series of thin, ribbon-like appendages, resembling the flat body of a worm. These appendages undulated and writhed with a hypnotic rhythm, allowing Zchpotli to move with serpentine speed and dexterity. Finally, the 10th creature, known as Ilizanami, was a nightmarish amalgamation of vulture and hyena, its scavenged form twisted and warped into a mockery of life. The pseudo-infernal boasts the hunched posture and broad, featherless wings characteristic of vultures. Its plumage is a mottled blend of dark browns, grays, and blacks, providing excellent camouflage in its preferred habitat of desolate plains and rocky outcrops. Despite its avian traits, the creature's body is robust and muscular, reflecting its scavenging and hunting instincts. Its head resembles that of a vulture, with a bald, wrinkled visage and sharp, hooked beak, designed for tearing flesh from carcasses. Sunken, predatory eyes gleam with intelligence and hunger, scanning the horizon for signs of prey or carrion. Its beady eyes gleamed with a hunger that could never be sated, and its ragged wings beat the air with the sound like the tolling of a funeral bell. From its neck sprouts a shaggy mane of coarse fur, reminiscent of a hyena's mane, adding to its fearsome appearance. The creature's forelimbs are equipped with powerful talons, adapted for grasping and rending flesh with ease. Its hind legs are sturdy and muscular, allowing for swift movement and powerful leaps when pursuing prey or defending its territory. At the end of its tail, a tuft of feathers resembling a vulture's plumage adds to its overall aerodynamic profile. "Most impressive," the king says in awe. "You are true to your word. Indeed, you have created new life in this wasteland of death. Now, with your mind and abilities, we no longer have to wait the unbearable passage of time to add to our ranks. Now, we can build a truly unstoppable force. My children of the dark, now is the time to spread your wings and extend your fangs. Taste of the human world and bend it to your will. Bring humanity to its knees. Bring death and suffering to all life you find. Devour them all." The 9th D'inferni, Bai Wuchang, steps forward. With a grunt of exertion, he extends his arms wide and creates a series of dimensional rifts to open up before them. "Kill all the life nearby and grow your strength. Then, seek out the strongest and most vibrant energy you can sense. Slaughter them and make a statement to the mortal realm. Let them know that their time ruling the world has come to an end. The time for death has come."